Now, recall our discussion in the exponents module where we have talked about how the various exponents lie on and roots lie on the number line. Yeah. So we have 0 here, 1 here, -1 here, the standard way in which we represent the number line and the properties of the numbers in between these sections, it varies, right? How does it vary? All our numbers which are over here, they follow the instinctive properties. The way we think about it, if I think about, okay, if I square a number, my first thought will be the number will become greater. If I cube a number, the number will become even greater. If I find the root of the number will become smaller. That is my instinctive thought, right? Why? Because the most common numbers that we use are the ones which are over here in this particular region. Yeah. But then the numbers in this region, they do not follow the same pattern. The number in this region, they follow some of the patterns same as my instinctive one, but not all. And the numbers in this region do not follow the same pattern, right? So whenever we are, for example, if we are plugging in numbers, whenever we have to check for something, whether it holds for everything or not, and we don't have an option where we are unable to think of the concept, and then what do? We ensure that we try at least one number from each one of these ranges, right? Because they behave differently. The numbers in these ranges behave differently. Now, if 1 by x is greater than x, this is not what is instinctive to me. I would say x is 2, 1 by x is half. So, 1 by x is smaller than x. But when my x lies over here, then my 1x is smaller than 1 by x. Then 1 by x is greater than x, yeah, over here in this particular region. Also in this particular region, so say for example, I have -2 and the inverse of that is -half. Of course, then the -half is greater than, because it's going to lie over here. The reciprocal, it flips the ranges as well, right? It's there in your module. So it is going to be greater. So 1 by x greater than x or x less than 1 by x are going to be these two regions, my less than -1 and 0 to 1. Now, if x lies in one of these regions, x is greater than x cube. Again, my instinct is that x cube is greater, right? But in this region, let's say, when I've already identified that these are the regions, is my x greater than x cube? So say x is half, my x cube is 1 by 8. So, the half and -half, these are the easiest numbers to take in case I'm unable to think of the relation. It's best to know the relations, but in case I'm not very sure, I'm getting confused, just take the examples. So if I have x is half, x cube is 1 by 8, which is less. So x is greater than x cube. It works. What about this one? If I have x is -2, x cube is -8, which is less. So x is greater than x cube. So here also it works. So this is true. This will be true for all such values. Is that okay? Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay. Look at second statement. If x is greater than 2x, now this is again something which is not intuitive, right? When is x greater than 2x? Normally it is 2x which is greater than x. Look, if I have any number which is greater than 0, if I say I'm doubling the number will move towards the right. Right? It doesn't matter whether it lies between 0 to 1 or between, greater than 1. If I double 2, then I know that it is going to become 4. If I double half, I know it is going to become 1. So the number moves towards the right always when I double it, when the number is positive. What about when the number is negative? Then what happens if I'm doubling this, it moves towards the left, it becomes smaller, which means that if x is greater than 2x, this I'm talking about this particular range, all negative numbers. You can look at -half also. When I double it, it becomes -1, it moves to the left. So the number is becoming smaller whenever I'm doubling it. So x is greater than 2x in this entire range, less than 0. Yeah. In this entire range, x square is greater than 1 by x. Look, I don't have to do anything over here. Why? Because I know x square is special when I'm talking about negative numbers. Why? Because x square is positive, because squares are always positive, which means that x square, no matter where my number lies in this particular range, x square will be greater than 0. X square will lie in this range. 1 by x will still lie in this negative range because x is negative. which means 1 by x will retain the sign, it will be negative. So x square will certainly be positive and hence greater than 1 by x, and that is why this will also always be true. Yeah. Okay, let's look at my third statement. If x square is greater than x, now this is what I usually expect, right? X square greater than x is, of course, all the numbers greater than 1. But we just said x square is special because x square is always positive. So for all the negative numbers also, x square is greater than x. So this holds when either x is greater than 1 or it is less than 0. Now for all these, x cube is greater than x square. When I have these numbers over here in this range, then my x cube, as I think instinctively about it, is going to be greater than x square. I know. But when I have a negative number, my x cube will be negative. It will move towards the left, right? -2 becomes -8. So it is less. X cube becomes less, but then x square is going to be 4. It is still going to be positive only, isn't it? Which means that x cube is greater than x square. It will not hold always. It will hold in some cases when x is coming out of this particular range. But when x is coming out of this particular range, then it will not hold. So this is not always true, right? This is not necessarily true. So I will not count this statement. Look at the last one. If x is greater than 1 by x. Now, this is what I assume, this is what normally happens. So 0, 1, and -1. X greater than 1 by x is going to be true in this entire range. And I know how the reciprocal works. It's also going to be true in this particular range. You can take values to figure out if you wish to, yeah? So then my x lies in this range or in this range, then x square is greater than 1 by x. All right. Look, my x, let's say, is over here, right? It is, for example, x is equal to 2. I know that it is going to flip because when I make it 1 by x, it comes in this particular range, right? It will come between 0 to 1. Whereas x square will become even greater. It will move towards the right because 2 square will become 4, right? So in this particular case, when I'm talking about greater than 1, certainly this holds. X square is greater than 1 by x. No worries here. Let me check over here. Here, my x square is going to become positive. Again, it's square, right? So it is going to come somewhere over here, right? In the positive side of it. Whereas 1 by x, because I'm talking about these numbers between -1 to 0. So let's say -1/2, right? My 1 by x will become -2. It will stay negative, right? So x square will be greater than 1 by x in both the ranges. In this also, because this is negative, the x square will become positive, whereas 1 by x will stay negative. And this, of course, because x square moves to the right of x, whereas 1 by x moves to the left of x in the 0 to 1 range. So for all numbers, this will also be always true, which means that my answer is going to be 3. Is that okay?